Under the warm glow of the golden morning sun, Halima stood before the tall mirror in her bedroom. The faint echo of her heartbeat pulsed through her chest as she practiced her steps, her silhouette gliding with precision and grace across the wooden floor. Each step was deliberate, every movement rehearsed, a testament to her unwavering determination. Halima had spent months refining her catwalk, pouring her soul into every class, every late-night practice, and every critique. She could still hear the voice of her instructor, Madame Noura, echoing in her mind. "The runway is your stage, Halima. Confidence is your strongest weapon." Confidence, that was the key. The news of the prestigious Royal Glam pageant had spread like wildfire across the city. The event was more than just a competition. It was a platform where dreams came alive and careers were born. The thought of standing beneath dazzling lights, dressed in the most elegant couture, sent shivers of excitement down her spine. Yet, beneath her joy lay the faint hum of nerves. The competitors would be fierce, the city's best, and Halima would have to be flawless. The morning routine was one of quiet focus. Halima tied back her long, dark hair and stood barefoot, watching herself in the mirror. Her mother, ever the supportive force in her life, knocked softly at the door. "Halima, breakfast is ready," she called warmly. Halima glanced toward the door and replied with a soft, "Coming?" She gave her reflection one last look, whispered a quick pep talk to herself, and moved to join her family downstairs. Madame Noura's studio was a place of sweat, sore feet, and transformation. It smelled faintly of lavender, wooden floors waxed to a shine, and discipline that hovered in the air like a silent command. Halima arrived early, as always, eager to make the most of her lesson. Madame Noura, dressed in her signature black turtleneck and silk scarf, watched Halima with a sharp eye as she adjusted the placement of her shoulders. "Keep your back straight, chin up, yes, that's how you own the room," Madame Noura instructed, her voice like velvet, both calming and commanding. Halima obeyed, focusing on every little detail. Her feet burned with exhaustion, but she pushed through. If she wanted to compete in the Royal Glam pageant, there was no room for imperfection. "This isn't about walking, Halima," Madame Noura said during a break, handing her a bottle of water. "This is about telling the world who you are with every step. On that runway, you are not just a girl. You are power, grace, and ambition. Do you understand?" Halima nodded, though she knew she had so much more to learn. Aisha had been Halima's best friend since childhood, and if anyone could make Halima laugh or feel inspired, it was her. The two sat on the edge of Halima's bed one evening, reviewing videos of other runway models for inspiration. The screen flickered as Aisha narrated each model's technique. "See how she glides? Effortless. But you've got something she doesn't, Halima. A spark. You just need to let the world see it," Aisha said with conviction. Halima smiled faintly, feeling the pressure building in her chest. "What if I'm not good enough, Aisha?" she whispered, her voice betraying her self-doubt. Aisha turned sharply. "Don't you dare say that. You've worked too hard for this. You're strong, and you're ready. You just have to believe it." Aisha's words stayed with Halima long after she left. That night, as Halima lay in bed, she envisioned herself on the runway, her emerald dress sparkling, the crowd captivated. For the first time, she could see it, the possibility of victory. The day of the pageant arrived faster than Halima had expected. She stood backstage, surrounded by the hum of stylists, makeup artists, and other hopeful contestants. Murmurs filled the air, mixed with the sharp hiss of steamers and the click-clack of heels against the marble floor. Halima's gown, a stunning emerald green masterpiece, hugged her figure like it had been crafted by the hands of destiny itself. Taking a deep breath, she glanced at the clock. 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, her entire journey would culminate in a moment she had dreamt of for years. "Ready, Halima?" a voice called softly. She turned to see Aisha, her closest friend and confidant, holding up her phone like a proud coach. "Remember who you are. Remember why you're here." Halima nodded, her throat dry but her heart swelling with a sense of purpose. She was ready. The runway stretched before her like a golden river, glowing beneath the brilliant spotlight. Beyond it, an ocean of faces watched intently, the judging panel sitting front and center. As the music surged to life, Halima took her first step. Heel, toe, heel, toe. Madame Noura's voice echoed in her mind, her chin lifted high, her posture regal. Halima became a vision of elegance. Her emerald dress rippled like a wave with every fluid movement. The world around her faded as she allowed hers. Madame Noura's voice echoed in her mind, her chin lifted high, her posture regal. Halima became a vision of elegance. Her emerald dress rippled like a wave with every fluid movement. The world around her faded as she allowed herself to transform. For the first time in her life, she wasn't just walking, she was soaring. The crowd murmured with admiration, the judge's eyes following her every move. One judge, a former supermodel herself, whispered, "She has it." Halima reached the edge of the runway, paused for a breathless moment, and turned with a grace that drew audible gasps. She felt powerful, unstoppable, as she made her way back. The music faded, the lights dimmed, and the applause erupted. Backstage, Halima's heart pounded wildly in her chest. She stood with the other contestants, their gowns shimmering under the soft lights. The host's voice filled the auditorium, its cadence rising with anticipation. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the winner of the Royal Glam pageant is... Time seemed to slow. Halima's hands trembled as she clasped them together. She could feel the weight of her dreams pressing against her. "Halima Hassan!" The room erupted into cheers, the applause echoing like a symphony of victory. Halima's knees felt weak, but she forced herself forward, her smile breaking through the tears threatening to spill. The crown was placed gently on her head, its weight both literal and symbolic. As she looked out into the crowd, she saw Madame Noura beaming with pride, her mother wiping tears of joy, and Aisha cheering at the top of her lungs. Halima lifted her chin, holding her bouquet high. This wasn't just a win, it was the start of a new chapter.